We are making beet cupcakes today. Yes, beets. You'll love these. They're amazing. They're beautiful. Great for a birthday party because they have such a great pink color. I have preheated the oven at 350 degrees and we have a 12-cup muffin tin lined with paper liners. If you don't like to use the paper, spray that with cooking spray. Set that aside and we'll mix our cupcakes. The first thing we want to do is to take our beets, and I have a can of beets that are drained, and there's nothing in these, just beets. I'm going to put those right into the food processor. Red Hot Mama's off duty today. And I have a 1/4 cup of rice milk. You can use coconut milk there. And we are going to process these until they're pureed. So our beets are pureed with our rice milk, and what we want to do is add a 1/4 cup of honey to that, and that will be the only sweetener that we use in our cupcakes. And the beets are very sweet. You'll be surprised how much sweetness they'll add. So you don't need any refined sugar, which is awesome. And if you're vegan, instead of honey, go ahead and just use a 1/4 cup of agave syrup, and you'll be right with that. And just give that a little stir. I'm going to add in a 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So there's one, there's about 1/2. And next, using egg replacer in this recipe. So I use Energy powdered egg replacer, and we're using 2 eggs in here. So what we want to do is use a 1.5 teaspoons of the Energy egg replacer per egg with 2 tablespoons of warm water. This is always prepared. I call for the prepared egg replacer in my recipes, and that just means you go ahead and do this process, which is put the water in with the powdered replacer. And you want to make sure, because this is a starch product, make sure you go around and get all of that mixed up. And I just used my whisk that I used in the beets because it's all going to the same place. And you want to whisk this until it gets a little thick and have almost a gel type consistency. And you can see how it's thickened up. It gets a little frothy, so let's add that to our beets. And now give this a quick stir, and we're ready to go over to our dry ingredients. What I have here in this bowl is 1 cup of white rice flour, a 1/2 cup of, a 1/4 cup of sorghum flour, and a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. You can substitute tapioca if you can't have corn for your starch. So I've already whisked this. It's nice and smooth and there aren't any lumps. Then we want a 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. That's our leavening agent. A 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. And we'll have an 1/8 teaspoon of baking powder, a little extra leavening. So give this a quick stir. And I have a 1/4 cup of Earth Balance soy-free buttery spread. Remember, this is dairy-free. So again, for your vegan recipe. So we want to stir this in. I have let this sit at room temperature so the Earth Balance is soft, so I can do this with a spoon. If your Earth Balance is straight out of the fridge, that's fine. Just use a fork. And what you'll want to do is cut this into the flour. And you can see crumbs forming. And just slice your spoon through the mixture here. And you get these crumbs. These will be little moisture pockets when your cupcakes are baking. Keep them nice and moist and have a buttery flavor. Okay, and you have a medium crumb texture here. It's time to add our wet ingredients in. So we'll just go right in with this. Just give this a stir. And don't let the beets throw you off. These are really good. We'll finish these out with a nice frosting. We can do cream cheese, or we can do a vegan whipped cream frosting. Either way, they're fabulous. So make sure you get these completely mixed, no dry ingredients. And we're ready to put these right in our muffin tin. Bring this over. Just want to divide this mixture evenly. And I'll use this spoon. Just a little scoop in each one. And we'll bake these for about 17 minutes. And spread your batter out there. And just keep a check on these, and when they rise and the center looks dry, you can do your toothpick test where you stick the toothpick down in the center of the cupcake to make sure it comes out dry with no sticky batter. Or you can lightly, carefully touch the top and make sure that batter springs back. And you can also use a scoop to put the batter in the pan so you make sure these are nice and even. But if you have extra batter at the end, just go back and fill in the cupcakes that look like they may need a little more. Oops. Give this guy a little more. This side a little more. Clean up our mess. And these are ready to go into the oven. 350 for about 17 minutes. So 17 minutes have passed and our cupcakes are ready to come out of the oven. So I'll pull these right out and you see how pretty and pink they are. If you wanted this top really smooth, you could just take a wet butter knife dipped in just a little warm water and smooth this right before. I didn't, because when we frost these, all these nooks and crannies will fill in with this wonderful frosting, and we'll be glad we didn't smooth the tops. We need to let these cool for about 10 minutes before we frost. So we'll do that and we'll come back and make our frosting. So our cupcakes have been cooling for about 10 minutes, and I have one here I cut in half for you to see. You get a little golden color when you cook beets, but you still have this really little girl birthday party pink going on here, which is awesome. Very moist, very tender. You can eat these the way they are, but let's put some frosting on top. Let's do cream cheese frosting. Not dairy-free. You can use a dairy-free cream cheese product if you want. This is not. Mine is at room temperature with 2 tablespoons of Earth Balance soy-free buttery spread. That's also dairy-free. So we'll just give this a stir until it's smooth. And you can do this in your mixer, but at room temp, it doesn't bother me to just stir this up. Let's add in a couple tablespoons of honey. And we'll put in a little bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon. And if you don't want to use honey, you can use agave nectar in there. And let's put a teaspoon of vanilla. And when you make your frosting, you get it to the consistency that you want. They say spreading consistency, that's up to you. And if you feel that you get your frosting to a certain point and you need it a little thinner, then you just add in a little coconut or rice milk, however you like it. You can use clear vanilla as well if you don't want that little tinge of brown in here. It doesn't bother me at all. I do have the clear vanilla. I have a little bit of pre-sifted powdered sugar. Just put about, a scant half cup here. And let's see how this looks. And again, it's all about how thick you want the frosting. And I've used a low-fat cream cheese, and that'll give you a little thinner consistency. You can use full fat, or you can use the the dairy-free. So I'm going in with the rest of this. It's about a cup of pre-sifted powdered sugar total. And you can pipe this on or spread it on. I'll spread mine on with a butter knife. You can freeze the cupcakes pre-frosting. Put those in a freezer bag or wrap them in a wax paper and foil and put them in the freezer for up to 1 month. You can keep them in the fridge for a week. You can keep them at room temperature for several days and they'll be great. The beets keep them moist. So this is good enough for me. Let's take just a butter knife here. And just put some right on top. You can go as heavy or as light with the frosting as you like. Now let's be serious. There we go. And you'll store these in the refrigerator after you frosted them to keep the frosting fresh. And that's all there is to it. These are healthy and you can splurge on your frosting when you're using beets in your cupcakes. And low sugar, no refined sugars.